Borderline personality disorder. Now, if you've been following my previous videos, you would note that I've been trying to figure out treatment. And, well, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't go find treatment the conventional way. I can't, go see a therapist and then have them refer me to a group, which they would. I mean, I've looked into it, and group therapy is the key, so they say. Because if you're a borderline, what you need to do is you need to change the way that you process the world around you. The way that you perceive things. Well, I don't need to go to group therapy to do that, and I don't need to, well, I don't think so. I've chosen to go a different route with my therapy, and that is a route that comes from a more enlightened point of view on reality. Basically looking at consciousness and that in the whole big scheme of everything, we are all connected and we are all one. If I can love everyone as if they're an extension of me or part of me and vice versa, then I can forgive them for a lot of things and I don't have to hold the baggage as much, and I can just realize that this is a journey that I'm on, but we're all on a journey. And we may all be alone on this journey, but we're all connected as well. And it's seeming to help. Now, that being said, I have noticed some backlash from it too. I used to piss people off just because of my attitude or my strangeness or my weirdness, whatever you want to call it, but people didn't like me. Well, in the last week, maybe two, that I've been changing the way that I perceive the world and trying to love everyone and not judge them and not care if they judge me. It has started this new thing of honesty with me, of not holding back, because I no longer, with the way I'm looking at the world now, I'm not fearing if they like me or not, and I'm not trying to blend in. A lot of my early videos I talked about how we were chameleons and we blended in. I'm not trying that anymore, because it's not up to me to make them like me. I'm likable. I am a likable person. And if they don't see that, that's their issue. I spent years trying to be liked and was hated. But the backlash now of not trying to be liked is I'm standing up for myself. I'm actually starting to have self-worth, I think, maybe. Starting to feel like I don't deserve to be treated the way they treat me. And a lot of people treat me as weak. And I think that's because of the condition. Because I don't speak my mind, I don't stand up for myself, and I pretty much would put up with their bullshit. Well, this week that changed. Now, I have a coworker that I think I've talked about. He's like super employee. Used to work for the company, quit, now he came back. And ever since he's come back, he's been calling my boss and ratting me out. And for the last year that I've had this job, I've come and gone as I please because it's a job where I can. Sometimes I'll go in at 3 in the morning. Sometimes I'll go in at 7. My start time varies. And my boss hasn't cared because the job gets done, and that's all that matters. The deliveries get where they're going, the job gets done. The stores that I go into don't complain. They don't call him and complain. There's been no complaints. But in the last 2 weeks, since this new guy, or the old guy that quit and came back, has been there, my boss has called me 3 times. Because this guy keeps calling my boss and, well, it's 5 o'clock and Jeremy's not here yet. And so it's not a problem with my boss unless someone's making it his problem. Well, I confronted this employee, went up to him and I told him, quite frankly, that he needs to stop ratting me out. What time I come into work has no effect on his job whatsoever. He puts away certain items, I put away other items. So when I come into work, doesn't matter. All he has to do is worry about his stuff and worry about his job and not care about what I'm doing. And I told him that. I'm like, just do your damn job. Stop caring about what I'm doing. You're the one that quit and left, and now that you're back, don't think that you can dictate what I do. I've been running the show for the last year. You do your job, I'll do mine, and then we won't have any issues. Well, this individual I don't think likes me anymore because they will not speak to me or talk to me, and just every time they walk by they kind of just give me a mean glare. Well, that should hurt my feelings because I want to be liked. And it does, to a certain degree, but at the same time, he's not calling my boss no more and ratting me out, so I've taken care of the problem. If this guy can't accept it, why should I care? Another person I pissed off was my mother, because she keeps saying that she worries about me, but she's the one that she kicked me out of the house when she found a bag of pot in my room when I was 18. She found a bag of marijuana and she kicked me out. I had no job, I had no car, I had nowhere to go. She knew this, but she found marijuana. She gave me 90 minutes before she'd call the cops. I was young back then and didn't realize that there was no way she could have kicked me out without an eviction notice because I was 18 and I had my property there. So I could have stayed there and made it hard on her. And even with the drugs she had found, the marijuana, I mean, back then it wasn't legal. It's legal now, so it makes her whole kicking me out over it a moot point. But even back then, if the cops showed up and she's like, well, I found this. All right, what? They'll give me a ticket for it maybe? But they're still not going to make me leave. But I didn't cause a scene. I mean, I just left. And I was homeless for 2 winters and a summer. Because it was winter when she kicked me out. So in the winter she kicked me out. Like December, like the beginning of winter. So I went that whole winter homeless. I went the whole summer homeless. And then the whole next winter homeless. Until finally I was able to not be homeless. Where was she then? Where was her caring about me then? I mean, let's say I had a child and if I found drugs in their room, I wouldn't care because I'm not opposed to drugs. I'm opposed to drugs if you're doing stupid things when you're on drugs, but I'm not opposed to people taking drugs if they can handle themselves. I mean, I'm not saying people should do drugs, but I'm not going to judge people because they do or do not. I feel whatever you do to your own body is your decision. I don't believe that anybody should control what you decide to do to your body, but that's another video. Let's say that I did have an issue. I wouldn't kick my kid out for it, not on a first offense, not the first time that I found out about it. If I really didn't like it, I would tell him it stops now. I'd get him into treatment. Then if it happened again, I would reinforce that point and try to get him into treatment. I don't think I would actually kick my kid out unless it became violent. And if my kid starts hitting me, and I'm assuming if I have a kid, I might have a wife, or hitting her, or hitting the other kids or stealing or stuff like that, then maybe I'll kick them out of the house. But that'd probably be to prove a point. I'd probably let them come back after a couple weeks. Let them be homeless for a week. And then when they see how shitty that is, maybe they'll be ready to shape up, right? No, my mother didn't go that route. First offense, kicked me out. I was gone for 2 weeks. I was sleeping on benches. Yeah, mostly benches. And I came crawling back 2 weeks later. Hadn't showered. Looked like shit. Crying. Saying that I would do whatever, I will get into treatment. I will do whatever. I'll get a job. I'll move out. But just, I didn't even want to live there necessarily. I said, I will leave when you go to work. And I will just come here to sleep. Just please let me have a place to sleep and maybe shower so I can get a job and get some rest, because sleeping on benches sucks. And it's hard to get a job because I look like shit. She listened to me. She got up, went into the kitchen, poured me a glass of water, set it down, and she hadn't said anything the whole time I was crying or anything. And after I'd done, that's what she did. Set the glass down, and I was like, drink that water and then get out. Or don't drink the water and get out. And then we didn't talk again for like 6 years. Until I was doing better. And then she comes back into my life and cares. Well, now that I'm having a little more self-worth and I'm looking at things, I wasn't trying to punish her or anything, but I was talking to her. And I wouldn't have even brought it up, but she kept saying how much she was worried about me. Because I did a video, or my last video, where I was talking about a leap of faith. And I'm still wrestling with that question. Do I take this leap of faith or not? I was talking to her about it. And she was like pretty much telling me that I should just be a slave and keep working. And that my dreams really don't matter. And that it just comes because she cares and she worries about me. It's like, well, where were you when you were the one that put me in harm's way? I mean, the things I had to do for that two winters and a summer that I was homeless, I had to do some really, really criminal activities that I would never have had to do if I wasn't trying to survive. Not that I'm trying to excuse them, but I'm saying she made a situation worse. That did not come from a caring point of view. Anyway, I'm rambling. So, like I said, there's backlash when you start defending yourself. And that's all I gotta say.